Hey. Saturday. It is Saturday the 30th today. It's just gone 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock in the evening. It's hot here. We're in Penang, Georgetown in Penang. And I'm just having one of these. I was going to have a coffee, but instead I'm having one of these. It's kind of a little bit like, it's like sarsaparilla, which makes me immediately think of Big Lebowski. Who is that character again that sits at the bar? Got a sarsaparilla. Anyway, I'm having a sarsaparilla. I didn't get coffees at the shop, so I'm having this. But it's hot here for a Saturday, which I hear it's very hot in the UK. A friend of mine has got a paddling pool set up at home just now, just outside London, so I'm guessing that's how hot it is. But it's a little bit overcast, which is kind of also helping. So this is just an open chat. If anybody's in here wants to fire a question at me, ask about this life or money or anything, you can fire away in the comments and I'm happy to chat. But been here for a week now. We're on a house sit looking after two little dogs, which are just sitting over my shoulder just now. Been down the beach this morning. We were down there for about 7 o'clock this morning. Hello, John. How you doing, mate? Nice to see you. This is just a straight up chat. This isn't like a weekly live, the kind of thing that I'm doing the podcast now on a Wednesday. I hit 30 subscribers this week on the podcast. Link is in the description of this. Hello, Hiccup. How you doing? Nice to see you. But I've been kind of showing up to those podcasts now with a very kind of specific, either 3 stories or something to talk about. And I'll tell you what I was missing. Like this week's was quite an in-depth 50-minute chat just about how I've ended up here in Penang in the last 15 months. But I'll tell you what I was kind of missing in all of that. Didn't really get much of a chance to sit and kind of go through comments and questions and everything else. Hello, Marina. How you doing? And I was kind of missing that slightly. So I thought Saturday might be a nice day to sit down and just have a chat. Maybe we'll make this a bit of a regular feature because I quite like just chatting to you. Hello, Vicky. How you doing? I like just chatting. Omar, how you getting on? Nice to see you, mate. Brian, hello. How you doing? Straight in with the questions from Brian. Do you ever get stressed about booking future accommodation? Yeah, look, there's always little stresses and strains that come in all of these kind of things, right? You always feel a little bit like, you know, when you're booking it, you're thinking, am I using the right website? Am I getting the best price? And then comes the stress of like, when you're traveling there, you're thinking, oh God, does this place exist, right? You always get that. And then you show up and you're like, oh, what's the room going to be like? There's always those kind of things. But I think when you're long-term traveling, you kind of get used to a little bit of the ebb and flow. So it's not to say that it's stress-free, but in terms of acceptable levels of stress, it's not like trying to land a £10 million deal in my last job, you know, with a major retailer and the back and forth negotiations. It's not that kind of stress. So yeah, you kind of adapt, but I hope that answers your question, Brian. Liam, watching from Edinburgh. What's the weather like in Edinburgh, Liam? Tell me it's glorious sunshine and what time will it be? 10 a.m. for you? Looking like it's going to be a lovely sunny afternoon barbecue weather in Edinburgh. Hiccup, we enjoyed Penang. We were there for 4 days in April. It's a very lovely area here. We haven't seen much of it so far. We arrived and stayed in a hotel nearby in Georgetown. Yvonne booked it. It was a bit of a laugh because it was quite quiet inside it. And it looked like it was probably in its former glories in the 80s. The gym was like super old. All the equipment looked like it probably could do with some WD-40 spray. Everything's so humid here, right? So it kind of affects stuff pretty quickly. I'm sitting out at an old patio table just now that looks like it's seen better days just because of the humidity. So we haven't had much chance to kind of get around so far, but but I'm sure we will. We're doing this house sit just now for 5 weeks. 5 weeks, which is the longest that we've done. And these two little dogs, Teddy and Lucy, are great little characters, and we are building great relationships with them already. Rachel from Australia, how are you doing? Nice to see you as well. Thanks for joining me on the live. What time is it in Australia? Which part of Australia are you in? I've only ever been once, years ago. I DJ'd there. Played in Perth and in Melbourne at a club many moons ago, a different lifetime ago. Yvonne and I are actually thinking about trying to get to Australia next year for a little bit of a trip, if we can manage that within the budgets. We've got friends that live in Geelong we'd like to go and catch up with, and some other friends. Everybody that we know is in Melbourne, or in Melbourne, some area. Queensland, 7 p.m. on a Saturday. Crack the tinnies open, have a glass of wine, relax, he says with a sarsaparilla in his hand. Right, let me see. 333, 18 to 28 degrees in Dumfries. Well, I hope you've been enjoying that, because typically that's like in Scotland, you get like a week of summer and then it disappears, right? So make use of that week, and long may it last, but understanding Scottish weather, it's normally a short run. Vicky, it's month 5. I should bring these up on screen, right? I can actually do this with this app that I'm using. It's month 5 into the year. How are you feeling about it, and how's it going? God, I could make the next hour last talking about that topic. How are you feeling about it? You know, I'll say this: the year is flying by. It's gone immensely quick, considering kind of how we live. That's one thing that I'll say about it. It goes fast, and we're at this stay for 5 weeks. Then we've got a bit of a break. Then we've got another stay, and then after that, we plan to go to. We're in Spain for August. We're going to travel back to Europe and do a month in Spain. Then we're hoping to have a holiday with some friends, which will probably be early September. And then Yvonne and I are thinking about circling back round. So for those people like you, Vicky, that have been here since as long as I can remember, maybe the first video, certainly I remember seeing your name very early on. We left last September, 17th of September. So it's going to feel weird having then done a year away from the UK. And we were kind of almost thinking, depending on how things are playing out, how our friends are doing, we might go back to Dubai, spend a few days in Dubai, and travel back out to Kuala Lumpur, and it would kind of be like repeating last year almost. But we're very keen to spend some time in Vietnam and Thailand. So last year we did Christmas and New Year in Thailand. I think we'll probably try and repeat that. So yeah, that's just a timeline I've given you, right? How am I feeling about it? You just kind of, like the answer should be, hey, it's amazing, everything's awesome. And generally the lifestyle is. But as I've posted in recent videos, I've definitely found myself like in this mindset of like building this channel and all the things that I've created, and occasionally missing the silence of a drink. And then also missing, the grief part of things, like missing my dad. Somebody messaged me, I might turn this into like one of those videos. Somebody messaged a day or two ago and said they had lost their dad not so long ago, and they were still having these moments where you think about something where you're like, oh, I should tell my dad this, right? And then they have that realization. And I was responding saying, yeah, when I traveled all the time with work, my dad used to always say, can you get us a paper? Can you get us a newspaper, right? A free paper. So I would pick those up, New York, San Francisco, Germany, pick up a free paper. And I've looked at that a couple of times here. I've talked about this, been in train stations or shops, and I've seen a paper and thought, oh, I'll get a paper. And then I'm like, don't need that paper. Little moments like that. my voice go hoarse talking about that. So yeah, think about those things. Now, here's the positives, right, that I'll give you straight off the bat. Money goes much, much further. So being able to just kind of relax and enjoy things. The weather in each of the places that we've been so far has been excellent. Like, we've just enjoyed that. Had a few rain showers here, which even that is really enjoyable when it rains a little bit. We've acclimatized, although here has been the hottest day. Now, it's coming into summer here, and also it's very humid down at the coast where we are. The beach is just a 10-minute walk away. You feel the heat here. Yvonne is probably feeling that more, and she's written about this in her Substack, the age of life that she's at, the changes and everything. So, you know, the women in here will recognise what I'm talking about. So that's been a bit difficult, the temperature, because the house we're in has air conditioning. It's not great. It's not like hotel air conditioning. So we've had a few hot sleeps. But I'll say this much, my brain feels sometimes like parts of it are detaching. That's like leaving the work stuff behind. And yes, I've given myself a new job in doing YouTube and Patreon and podcasts and all those things. But I love doing all of that. I really do enjoy all of this kind of content creation. Just trying to rein myself in sometimes, that I'm not like breaking off into 50 ideas at once. Let me have a little look. See what else. John Benison flat. Yes. Now you see, John, I've seen you replying to a couple of comments on my page, and I do appreciate your input on some of the more jaggier edged comments, and I do appreciate you responding to some of those. And I know you'll know that there has been some comments about, you know, doing a house sit and, oh, I'm just working for somebody else. And I think one of the comments was about me picking up somebody's dog shit. However, I'm not working. I don't work for anybody. Looking after two animals, and these two little dogs are just absolute characters. And yes, one of the advantages of all of that is 5 weeks worth of accommodation. So the May budget video I'll do in a couple of days. And then that will flow into June as well. And then when we go to Spain in August, that's for we're actually looking after the property of our old landlord in Northampton. She's travelling. She's invited us to look after the house and our pets. Yvonne and I will do that for her. We've known her for 13 years or something. So that'll be another month of accommodation reduction on your costs. All of that makes a difference to the budget. It means that, as I talked about last video, going to Bali and spending a bit more on eating out and doing all of those kinds of things feels less like, oh God, we've overspent on the budget, knowing that we then have a 5-week stay free of charge looking after these dogs. Everyone's inside shouting after the two of them because it'll be dinner time shortly. Let me see. It was wet this morning in southern Vietnam. Hey, hiccup. 27 degrees. You know, I watch Richard and Carrie. Richard's channel's Britain to Beyond. They're out in Vietnam just now. And I saw Richard talking about the heat that was out there. I think he was saying it was like 35 degrees, 38 degrees at one point. Now, it's hot here. I don't think it's that hot. Let me just check. Look at me doing the whole, because I've not got my glasses on. Everyone will be shouting at me. It's 30 degrees at 5 o'clock. Lucy's staring at me from the side there like, who's he talking to? What's he doing? And 333. I'm hoping that it's actually probably less about the safety and more about whether our friends are on holiday at that time. So we go stay with our pals that we stayed with last time, catch up with the family. And they tend to go to the UK in August, early September. So depending on how things go, that will decide whether we go to Dubai or not. And we'll figure that out as we get through it all. Yeah, you know, this is the thing. Like, I kind of had it in my head as well, because we were close to the coast, that in reality it would be much cooler here. Nope. It is hot as hell, very humid. There's a garden just grass area behind us. It's got that tropical feel. Yvonne and I came back last night with the dogs from a walk, and there was these massive snails in the garden, huge shells, and a toad on the grass as well, just kicking around, which I just found fascinating. You know, the garden's alive at night with all sorts coming out. Might be able to introduce you to. Come on. Oh. Here's Teddy, coming to see what's going on. This is Teddy having a little look around and a little sniff at the camera. He's very nosy, he's very inquisitive, but he's a great little dog. Hello, Teddy. How are you doing? Yeah, you're going to give me a wee face kiss? Lucy's a little bit more shyer. Right, buddy, there you go. That's Teddy. He's just going to sit at my lap now. He's a very attentive little dog. Jumps on the bed at night, sleeps at the bottom of Yvonne and I's feet, and Lucy just lies at the bottom of the bed on the floor where it's a bit cooler. Oh, what else have we got going on here? Yeah, so I would have thought it would have been cooler here as well, but reality it's not. I hope this, can you tell me, how's the sound coming through? I'm using my little DJI mic for this, connected to the camera and then running through software. And I did a quick test before I turned it on, but I hope it sounds all right. Can you hear the crows in the background as well? Yeah, do you know, we keep meaning to do a trip out to Cameron Highlands. We just haven't got around to it. We tend to take things so lazy. We're just really very chill about things. I'm hoping this laptop doesn't overheat either. If all of this just dies, right, if I just disappear randomly, you'll know that it was just the heat of the sun, because I'm not really in the shade. I'm in the shade, but the sun, hopefully it'll move around in a little minute. Hello, Gordon. Just jumped onto Patreon, leaving mid-June. 10 months of travel, 2 kids. So strange leaving work yesterday. Are you, Gordon, is that you finished work altogether, retired, leaving, redundancy, or are you taking a sabbatical, or are you just on holiday? Tell me in a follow-up comment. And thanks for joining Patreon. 125 members on Patreon as of this morning. You can become a free member, and I post the occasional post to free members. There's a free member chat, which I tend to drop in and out of. But the real access comes from the paid version, and I post regular updates about changes to tax issues, ISAs, my own portfolio, what I'm buying, stocks and shares, life as a YouTuber, creating content, all of those topics I regularly share. So if you're interested in that, there's a link down below as well. I'll say this much. Right, I try and always be super transparent, right, about everything that I've made. And I don't do that only when the months are good. I try and share that even when things are very different. And this month, May, has been my lowest performing month to date on YouTube. Made the lowest amount of money and the views are much lower. Now, could make 100 different excuses on all of that, right? There's a lot of YouTubers. I was watching Jeff Buys Cars the other day, UK guy that buys cars, but talks a lot about life. And he was saying his channel views have really been hit hard, and he talks to some other creators about all of that. A guy called MacMaster, who I watch. He's a guy with a Porsche Taycan that had loads of issues. Watch his channel. He's talked about the same. I follow this guy called, I can't remember his name. He's a pilot, ex-pilot from the RAF, does some political stuff from time to time. He was talking about YouTube and what he earns. He's got like 120,000 followers or something. He's scraping by on like $1,000 at this point. Views are down. Mr. Beast, YouTube's biggest content creator, says his views have halved, gone from 100 million views to 50 million views on a video. So I know I'm not alone in the world of YouTube has made a big shift. And a lot of that is tied into the AI content. Now, I'm sure you're all delighted to see AI videos constantly pushed at you, whether it's fake voices or videos with like no faces in them, no actual people in them. But YouTube is really pushing all that stuff just now. They've changed the homepage, so you don't see as many long form videos. You see way more, what do you call them, shorts. You see way more shorts on the channel. But then there's also, like, if I was taking that on myself, right, I would say my topics have shifted a lot. My big hitters have been quite kind of spiky topics, tax issues, and those have been kind of what you would call the viral. And recently I have not had any viral videos, but just consistency. So to you people that are here, all the regular names that I see, thank you so much for just constantly watching all of this. You are my base audience, and I'm immensely grateful to have a base audience that watches these. So everything's kind of stable for me, but it's meant the income is significantly lower for May. It had kind of stabilized over January, February, March, April, and then it shifted now. And I'll cover it. I'll talk about it in an actual video, and I'll share the numbers. But yeah, that's the realities of it. Now, fortunately, I've wrote some options and had some stock that I sold in May that did very well. So when I do my budget video, I'll cover all of that. And the actual stocks that I bought and then sold and options that I wrote, I posted all of that information in Patreon. And what Patreon does is, for the members that are in there, just means that I've actually made more money on Patreon this month, which helps supplement my income and means that I can just cover some of the costs. The XREF chap, yeah, Fast Jet Performance. What's his actual name again? What's his actual name, Baz? Yeah, I watch his videos. He made a video the other day saying he wasn't sure if he was going to carry on because he was only making like $1,000 a month. God, I wish I could make $1,000 a month. The early days, I kind of made it to that level. But then the channel shifts, right? The big, this exit the UK attracts a certain amount of people that are interested. And then when you're kind of living it, changes tone for people. And also a lot of my content recently has been less about the location and a bit more about reinvention, really. Hello, Victoria. Quick hello from me, getting ready to go out. Well, you have an awesome day. Thanks for dropping in. But thanks, Baz. I appreciate that. I was trying to remember Fast Jet Performance. I didn't realise he was in the RAF and then got kicked out because of his opinions that he shared. I didn't know about that. MBA, hello. I see the thumbs up. Just giving you a shout out back. Omar, have you ever considered having a brief group meetup? Meeting some of your followers, perhaps. I meet followers, people from Patreon. You'll have seen videos with Kelly and Adam and pictures from Luke and his family. Always catch up with people as I can. The group thing, it just starts to become, I wouldn't say no. I'd considered it for KL at one point. Becomes a bit more in terms of like finding a venue and then whether you book or pay for that venue or whether you just show up to a coffee shop and then too many people arrive. There's a bit of logistics in it. But meeting somebody when they're traveling through, Lee and his partner, wife, Sarah, just messaged me today and was saying they were coming into KL and we could maybe catch up. Only thing for us is I think we're going to be here in Penang at that time, so we'll see how that goes. These two are like guard dogs on duty when it comes to a motorbike passing by outside. Tiny dogs always carry that energy, don't they? They've got that. They're looking at me like, perimeter protected. We've got this. Cracks me up. Fransley, hello, good morning. Southwest London. Which part of London are you in? I know he's southwest, but whereabouts? Which part? How's the weather down there? That was always one thing I liked about London. You got this just completely different weather cycle. I remember I used to come down from London sometimes for business meetings and I'd leave Glasgow with like a jacket on the flight. And then the next thing you'd be on like an underground at Euston, absolutely sweating with the heat. The difference with like a sunny day in London. Tim Davies, thank you, Baz. That puts my mind at rest. I was going to say Tim. I had Tim on the touch of the tip of my tongue, but I just didn't get it. Richmond Park. Oh, I've been to a few gigs around that area. Been to a few gigs around there in my time. Oh, that's great. Well, I hope you have a great day. MBA. What have I clicked open now? Is it better for me to watch your Spotify or YouTube as I've started watching your podcast? Do you know, I honestly don't mind. I'll tell you what I have done, right? I've opened up this Spotify thing and I load the audio on there. Now, to become monetized on Spotify, you need to have 1,000 followers and like 4,000 listener hours, which is very similar to YouTube. Miles away from that, I've got 30 followers. Thank you to the 30 people. And I've had like, I don't know, 100 hours of playtime. But I'll tell you what I do. I extract the audio from the live stream on a Wednesday, and then I master it all and EQ it so that it should sound nice in your ears. And I would love to know, like if you listen, I've done that on the latest episode, right? I'd love to know if it sounds good to somebody that's not me, because I'm sitting listening to it at night and I'm like, that sounds pretty good to me, but it's your own voice, right? It's difficult. So I'd love to know what you prefer. Now, if the question is about like, if you're thinking about money, I actually turned the monetization off on this week's podcast because I just wanted people to listen to it the whole way through and listen to a kind of the last 15 months. And people who are new or people that have maybe been following for a while, just as a bit of a reminder. So I don't make any money from that, and I don't make any money from it on Spotify either. So if I was to say, go here because it was monetized, I wouldn't be doing that because there is no money in it for me. I just like doing this, right? See this Saturday chat. This is for fun. I don't make any money from this. There's no adverts in this. And even when it's done, if I turn the adverts on, the money that comes through is so small. I'm like, it's not worth it. Now, that might change down the line if this got bigger, but for now, I'm trying to kind of balance between listener experience and enjoyment versus an income from it. So I didn't turn the monetization on. With this and with YouTube, there will be an advert at the beginning. That is it. No adverts in the middle, turned off. So, you listen to it where you think is best. I'm growing on Spotify. It would be awesome if you're over there just even as a follow, but you pick. Let's see, Vicky, it's hot in London. I bet it is. I still haven't quite got used to this whole hanging out with like vest tops and all that on. It's a very different way of living. Normally I would have a band t-shirt on. I had to scrap that. They're too hot. Way too hot. Who else have we got? Michael. Michael, how are you doing? Greets. Malta. How hot is it in Malta? Also, what time is it? What time is it now? 10 a.m. Would that be 11 a.m.? Is that, half 11? Half 11 in Malta? Are you going to come over and wave and say hello? Like you're dying to. You're dying to. You can talk. My microphone's right there.
Hi, folks. How you doing? You've had a comment from Gordon as well. You need to check. Hi, Gordon.
From Gordon. Okay. Oh, yeah, right. Okay. Right. So, Michael, tell me, what time is it in Malta? And is it hot, mate? Let me go back to Gordon. Look at that. See, admin. There's always somebody. See, you think you do all this stuff yourself. There's always somebody watching over your shoulder. I'm 50, planning a long break from work. Lost my dad a couple of years ago. Left some money. Just going to go for it. Well, I mean, I can relate to that experience heavily. I kind of talked about this on Wednesday night, right? And I think Beth, who's been messaging on the channel, who had listened to all of that, was like, right, I get why this grieving process has lasted. I don't think there is any time frame around grieving, right? I told that podcast story the other night to kind of share a timeline of what these 15 months have been like and how much of a whirlwind and how busy and how time-filled it's all been, to kind of highlight. I don't really feel I've had any time to grieve. And going away doesn't mean to say that you leave your problems behind. It take all that stuff with you, but a change of environment also can be very mind clearing. So Gordon, I wish you the best on that trip, mate. Where are you thinking about going, more importantly? And am I getting eaten alive by mozzies? Yvonne, by the way, I think has got the blood for them. She's got bites all over her. That's one thing. It's been a big change here. Let's have a look down. Podcast sounds great. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Like I say, I pull the audio out of the file, the video, and then I master it. So I'm glad it sounds good. Life with options. How we doing, buddy? New Zealand. What's the time difference between New Zealand and Australia? God, I'm honestly, man, absolute. I won't say what I've been saying before about the hard R thing, because somebody corrected me and told me what that really means and not how I was interpreting it, which was just retard, by the way. I was calling myself that. NBA. I was trying to help your payment. I appreciate that. Well, hopefully that answers it. No payment either way. I think sometimes, like I talk about Patreon, right, where people do sign up and join, and I am immensely grateful because, as I've said, YouTube this month has really performed poorly for all of the reasons. So Patreon helps, but there are things that I do that I don't make any money from. I send a weekly newsletter out. It goes out every Friday. I pay for the company that sends it. I write it. There's a company that hosts it all. I do GDPR. I also have to have a mail. I didn't know this when I created it, right? But you have to have a mailbox or a fixed address for the GDPR of sending an email or comes out. So I pay a company 15 quid a month just to have a mailbox in the UK that I can use as part of the GDPR compliance in order to send the weekly newsletter out. I had no idea about that stuff when I started it. But there's like 360 people who get that newsletter, and all I do is write a little bit more context, share a story every week, and send that out. And I'm amazed every week at the number of people that open it and read it. Because when I was in my last job, right, I used to send marketing comms out about the brand that I worked at and multiple other brands. And the open rates on marketing newsletters was like terrible. Like if you got a couple of %, you'd be doing well. My newsletter every week typically gets about a 60 to 65% open rate. So if you are a subscriber of the newsletter, thank you. I appreciate you. Right, let's see what else we got. Malta, UK +1. That's what I thought. All right. Hey, Carrie, waving back at Yvonne. I said to Yvonne the other week there, I've got a second one of these mics. I was like, let's sit and do a wee show together. And she agreed, and we were going to just do a pop-up, right? We were going to just do me and Yvonne sitting having a chat. And then the night crept on and we were like, let's just order a takeaway. Michael, sunny, 26 degrees here, cooler than the UK. Nice. Hopefully with a wee breeze, that would be nice. 9:30 in New Zealand. Oh, Saturday night is running away from me. I've just noticed that Arsenal's playing PSG. That's midnight tonight. But Scotland's also got I think it's a friendly game. Scotland's got a friendly game that kicks off at I want to say 8 o'clock tonight. So I might be able to watch that on my Amazon Fire Stick. You know what I mean? Scrambled eggs. Look, there's always one tool in the comments, isn't there? Looks like you're in a prison yard. Mate, are your kids still rolling about that pool? Are they? Are they? James, are your kids still rolling about that pool? Thanks for dropping in, mate. Cheers, it's nice to see you. Are you coming to Spain? Are you coming to hang out in Spain? I know him, by the way, before you think I'm giving him aggro. I know who he is. My pal. Adam, how you doing? Welcome to Penang. The prison yard, apparently. We're in suburbia. I need to make a video walking up and down this street and let you see it. I think she was Chinese. Chinese women stopped Yvonne and I yesterday in the street. It's like, where are you from? the two of us were like, Scotland. And she was like, how long are you here for? Where are you staying? Is it a house? Is it an apartment? Some people are very direct. You never quite know if it's like, if it's just friendly questions or whether it's we're going to get papped out the country questions. Hey, this is an anonymous safe space. Stop giving out my real name. Don't worry, mate. I'll not make you fill in any forms about communications online here. Yeah, so Scotland game tonight and the Arsenal game at midnight. See, because we've got the dogs, right? And we get up at like 7 in the morning to take them for a walk. I can't stay up to midnight. That's way too late. Also, it's a Chinese family I live over there. Been getting a new driveway fitted all week. Oh, it's been hell. Just been like relentless concrete, like drilling and banging. There's Paw Patrol away out. Let's see, Gordon, fly to Singapore for a few nights, then Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, winging it. Love that. That's exactly how to do it. Have a little bit of a plan and then just, you'll figure it out after that. Something quite liberating, quite freeing about that. Just only having the first little bit of it worked out. That's enjoyable when you're just like deciding how you're going to make it work. That's exactly what you want from all of this. Good on you, Gordon. And, you know, if we're in the same area at any point, don't be afraid to drop me an email or a message or something, and always open to catch up. Lifeway options. Made my first options trade this month, closed them super early, $50 profit. Hey, that's what it's all about. Doing it inside a month and making a little bit of a cash. That is exactly what it's all about. Good on you. In probably tomorrow, for the room tier members on Patreon, I'll do an update video of all of my options holdings, what the budget looks like, what I've sold, what I've opened. I'll do that as a roundup video and post that in the next day, because it's been weeks since I've done a catch up on that. But for everybody else, I shared the Spire stock that I sold. Now it's gone up to like $25, but I opened cash secure puts, so I'm at the other end of it and still making a little bit of money despite selling the stock that I owned. That's a different topic. Shiny coat. Hi John, I was wondering if not having a longer term base and constantly having to arrange accommodation will get tiring. You know, this is a question that I get asked all the time. I mean, see, when I've used this analogy before, right? See, when you buy a new car, is it exciting forever? No, it gets boring after a while. It's just something else that you've got to clean and look after. So, like, does everything stay amazing for your whole life? No. So I'm sure at some stage things will become boring, things will become tiring. Now, I'll say this. This is why we're doing it now. We're 48. Right, I don't want to be doing this when I'm like 70. You know, that would maybe be a completely different way of travel at that point, whether your body's up to it. But here's what I'd say. Most people wait until they're retired. So is that 65, 67, 70? Then they're like, right now I'm going to do that. And you're knackered. I am very glad to be doing this now and be fit and healthy enough to get up and go down the beach in the morning to enjoy ourselves now. Will that change down the line? Yeah, we'll get older. Things will become different. But yeah, but I'm not wishing my life away to that point to think about like what will come of it all. Just take it in a stride for now. We turn 50. You know, I'm 48, right? My birthday's in January. I'll be 49. Do this for another loop round. Then I'll think about applying for a longer term visa as a retirement visa. Jesus, bloody mosquitoes. A retirement visa at 50, maybe for Thailand, if the rules haven't changed. Things change all the time. And then maybe it would be a longer term stay there, like maybe do 6 months or a year longer term rentals than we're doing just now. Because obviously we're hopping around on tourist visas right now. But it's great to be able to, we're going to be here for And we've got this 5-week stay, then a break, then another stay. We're going to be in this region for about 7 weeks. We've just came from a month in Bali. Then we're going to Spain for a month. Then we're going to go to Dubai. Then we're going to come back to Thailand. It's great. That part of it is great. And say this, we need to make life easier for ourselves and get rid of stuff. When we go to Spain, I don't know if my pals are watching, Emma and Billy. I know they know I'm on. If you are watching, guys, can you please take some of our stuff back to the UK? Never gets old, this, by the way. Every single dog, every cat, every car, motorbike that passes, that's what they do, run out to the gate. So I'm going to have to try and get rid of some stuff because we're travelling too heavy just now, got too much stuff. And I'd like to get down to a backpack. Yvonne and I have talked about this. We think we can get rid of that suitcase. Most of it is legal paperwork from my insurance case, which is still in arbitration for now, but I'll be able to get rid of that. That would make things lighter. Let's have a little look. Altered Bistro, finally caught alive. How you doing? So a Wednesday night, that's my weekly live stream podcast. And there I typically talk about 3 stories that's happened during the week. This week's one was just one tale of the last 15 months. And so today, Saturday, is more just you can fire off, ask whatever you want, and I'll answer, and we can have a bit of a chat, because I really like this interaction. I like being able to just hang out, have a drink, see what yous are saying, and chat. So, so welcome. Thanks for joining us, Bistro. Never too late, nor early. Hi, John. Hope you're well. Regarding YouTube, I seem to do very well with shorts, but not as good on long. Sadly, it's impossible. You know, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. There's such different audiences. You get people that absolutely hate shorts, and my audience tends to be, you know, it's like the kind of 40s to 70s range. And we have attention spans. We grew up with movies and albums, whereas the kids love the shorts. And I like this. Like, see, sitting talking for an hour, chatting. I love that. That's why I'm doing the podcast. I don't make any money from the podcast, as I was saying, but I like talking because I can tell you much more about what's going on. But the shorts and the longs are 2 totally different audiences. The people that watch a short don't tend to go to your channel and become subscribers. I posted a short maybe about 4 or 5 weeks ago that was about council tax in an apartment in Malaysia. And it did something like 270,000 views. Now, if that was a long, I would have made about £2,000 from that. That's my last video that I had, long, that had 250,000 views. I made £2,000 from. The short made 20 quid. 20 quid. So you're just like, not you particularly, but short creators are just destroying people's attention span. I mean, I'm making them, I'm posting them just as a little addition to the channel. Let's see, Michael, are you selling weekly or monthly option contracts? Typically 30 or 60 days. I don't really do shorter. Occasionally I might write the odd fortnight contract. Mainly on covered calls. Jesus Christ, I think I'm getting eaten alive. Mainly on covered calls, because it's stock that I'm happy to get rid of. But not so much on cash secure puts, because the premium is just so low. It's kind of pointless for me, but well, that's what I think anyway. Jay and Colette, good morning. How you doing? Morning, Jono. Somebody was messaging me the other day about the Johnny Brockovich thing, because I was talking about the legal case, and Erin Brockovich, I think, was on the telly last night. I've almost like, oh my God, it's on the telly. We're just talking about it. The earnings on YouTube Shorts are really low. Yep. Kind of just makes me feel like, what is the point? That's me zooming the camera in and out. I'm trying to move it down slightly because I'm sliding in my chair. It's kind of like, what is the point? But I've gained a few subscribers from it. A very few. But it's like the last couple of weeks, I know you make content, right? You've shared your link with me. If you are making your videos and you're like, God, this is a slog, honestly, everybody is feeling it. This shift from YouTube to focusing on, they're shutting AI channels down, but yet at the same time creating so many features for AI that are really heavily pushing it. So if you're feeling it like, oh God, this is a slog, everybody is, you just got to keep going, find your rhythm. So whatever that is. You think you'll go to Vietnam? Yep, probably towards the tail end of this year, very early next year. We were talking about the Philippines, we were talking about Cambodia. That's what kind of next year feels like. Be a little bit more adventurous, kind of seems like the wrong word, but we'll move around a little bit more next year, I think, because it'll feel like a year in. Brian, I'm 70 next year. Yeah, well, I can understand that, Brian. My dad was 77 when he passed away. That's what really makes me think about all of that, because he was so fit and healthy. Jane Collette, Spain, lovely. Which part are you in? We will be going to Valencia when we're there in August. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to Valencia. North Africa. Vicky Williams, let's have a little look. Having a 7-week mini practice retirement in the summer. Oh, that'll be interesting. Bit of travel, checking out what an ordinary Tuesday looks like. I'll tell you what an ordinary Tuesday looks like, Vicky. Looks like a Saturday or a Monday or a Thursday, because the days just don't mean anything anymore. And that is a bit that I really do enjoy. Let's see, Omar, what are your thoughts on an option managed account? On an option managed account, is that like a kind of like these ETFs? Hiya, you coming to say hello? Right, this is Lucy. Lucy's come to say hello now because she's wanting to see what Teddy was up to. She's a very nice, relaxed dog. Good fun. Everybody absolutely loves giving her a wee pat down the beach. Let you have a little look. Now Teddy's annoyed because Lucy's getting all the attention, but yeah, is that you? You came to say hello and be on the camera. There you go, you've made it onto YouTube. Is that what you mean, Omar? An option managed account? Just so that I understand the terminology. Watching from China, do you know, Yvonne and I were talking about Paul and Cheryl, who had gone to China and were traveling around, and we were thinking about maybe going to China for a few days and using it to fly to Spain from, or maybe to London and then on to Spain. But I'm really trying to not land in the UK. It's kind of a little bit of a mental goal. I said at the beginning of the year, get fit and healthy, make 24 grand and not go back to the UK for a year. Those were my 3 goals that I set in the New Year video that I made. So I'd like to avoid having to fly into the UK if I possibly could. Hello, Donald. How you doing? Nice to have you on, mate. Derek, I'm a member. Let's see what else we got. No other healthy drinks for Yvonne at this point. She's drinking electrolytes at this point because she's just roasting in the house and roasting here. So she's having an electrolytes. That's the main focus. Victoria, bye for now. Thanks. Yeah, I totally agree. The lungs are, you know, you can just say more. You can just get more in. There's a big kind of discussion point now about whether 8 to 10 minute videos have been replaced by more 20 to 40 minute videos. Anything below an hour, 40 minutes to an hour is a really good time because so many people are watching on TVs. So they're willing to consume longer videos, but over an hour feels like a big commitment. I kind of recognise that. I don't really watch as many films as I used to because I just think an hour and a half, 2 hours, who's got time for that? Michael, enjoy your weekend in Penang. Thanks, Michael. Let's see what else we got. Hey John, I've been watching since you were back in the UK. You've done so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate people coming along with the journey with us the whole way through all of this. It's felt, when I did that recap on Spotify the other night, kind of reminds me at times, because my brain is just constantly, I have to sometimes take a moment to just kind of think about things, because I tend to be so forward planning, forward looking, I can kind of forget how many things have happened. And it has, doing that conversation just reminds me of all of that. New video, Jay, good on you guys. Scott, are you drawing down savings investments with pension as a backstop, or are you living off interest alone plus your YouTube income? Hey Scott, little bit of a kind of merge here, right? So I have ISA accounts which have got stocks and shares in it. I've got cash savings accounts which earn an interest. I use Chase Bank for that because they've got a really good rate just now in the first year. As a new member, I think it's like 4.97 or something. It was a 1% boosted account for 12 months. I have some income that comes in from that. I write stocks and shares contracts. So I trade stocks and I do that every 30, 60 days. And that brings in an income I make from YouTube. My Patreon is a paid account where I talk about all these stocks and shares. I occasionally make some documents people buy. I tend to give them, most of them away for free. People make donations. I get a little bit of income from that, very up and down. So YouTube, Patreon, I do client consultation calls. So sometimes people want to talk about leaving the UK. I make a little bit of income from that from time to time. So I have different little pots. 2 years ago, I had a full-time job. I'd never worked. I'd never been self-employed. I'd never had any other incomes, no side hustles. I had a steady salary from when I was 16 years old till I was 47, and then that was gone. And then everything that I've built since then, I've kind of learned, self-taught on options, and then I've built this channel, and I make a little bit of money from it. And so some months I make enough to cover the bases. Other months I use a little bit of savings, and that's kind of the goal. Now, on the pension question, I have a private pension. Yvonne has a private pension that we'll get access to when we're 65, 67, 60, whatever the age is now. So I've got that sitting there with a private company in the UK. I've had that since my 20s, I think. Yvonne slightly later. So I've got pensions that I haven't touched. And then in the meantime, any income that I can bring in that sustains the living for a period of time. But there's an acceptable tolerance of risk in all of this, Scott. If the stock market crashes, I'd be in a very different situation. As I've said, the highest I've ever made in a month on YouTube was like £2,000 last year. That was a great month. This month, significantly lower, lowest performing month in a while. But these are just the ups and downs. So I don't solely rely on YouTube. I don't solely rely on savings. I don't solely rely on stock options. I try and have a few different pots. And some months, if I'm a little bit under, then I'm eating into savings. Some months, if I've earned enough, then I'm comfortable. The goal, as I was mentioning a minute ago, my back is so sweaty. I'm trying to make £24,000 a year. Gives Yvonne and I £2,000 a month. £2,000 a month is very comfortable to live out here. Our average is somewhere between £1,500 and £1,800 a month for insurance, accommodation, travelling around, eating out, all of the kind of things that we need. Ah, nice. Almira. Very nice. Very nice. Who else have we got here? Scott, watching when you were selling up in Britain. Thank you, Scott. You know, this is the base audience that I'm talking about, the people that have kind of stuck with me the whole way through all of this. I can't say thanks enough. You know, I keep making videos and people keep showing up and watching them and subscribing to newsletters and everything else. So I'm genuinely humbled by all of that. I really do appreciate people coming and watching all of these. And in return, what I try and do with all of that is just tell you it like it is, right? Some months are good, some months are difficult, and that's just how we go with it. But this is the reality. I didn't walk away with like £500,000 in the bank or you know, all this stuff. You see these YouTube videos where people are like, you need 2 million to retire. I don't have anywhere near that level of money. But I also don't live a lifestyle now that's like, that needs that kind of level of cash. Live very quietly. You know, a highlight is a walk down the beach, can of juice, maybe a takeaway, and that's it. Years gone by, going to festivals, going to, you know, lavish holidays, 5-star resorts, business class flights, premium, what would you call it? Premium economy flight. None of that happens. We travel cheap. That's why I want to get rid of the suitcase, because it would let us travel even cheaper than all of that. So thank you, Scott. I appreciate you being here. Off to Download Festival. Look what I was just talking about, right? I've been to Download the last 5 or 6 years running. I had a great time last year. Full rip experience, big yacht, the works. Just like, made a video on my other channel talking about it. It was like $3,000 or something. Now, $3,000 to me now is like, I mean, that's a month and a half of good living here from what we spent going to Download Festival last year. But I went to Download in, wasn't called Download, it was called Monsters of Rock, 1994. 1994, the first one I went to. Aerosmith, Sepultura, Pantera, Biohazard. Great time. You have an awesome time. Yeah, I mean, Northampton, lad. 10-year Northampton, that's about it. Yes, option fund. Yes, Omar, I think that's a really good idea. That's a really good way to get exposure to options without you having to do the risk. I've been looking at some of that myself, actually. The guy, Chris, from Retire and Go channel, he talks a lot about that. So I think that's a really good option to have a look at, mate, definitely. Let's skip through some of these. I'll pick up my wife from Heathrow this afternoon. She returns from a business trip. Does she get to fly business class on that business trip? That's when you know you're really, you've really made it. Small bag only. It's the way to go, I'm telling you. The gold bar. You know, see the people that were telling me about the gold bar, how to get it out of that hole, right? I don't know how many people were looking at that video, right? But see, when I put my arm in it, I think Victoria was saying to me to try and slide it down my arm and get it out the hole. I could hardly get my hand out the hole, never mind slide a gold bar down my arm. But if I end up back in KL and that thing's still there, I'm having another go at it. I've only just got over the bruising in my knuckle from the lube. TV is the way to go. I hear you, Jay. Go to South China. I can't even say half of those names, so that would be me bust right from the start. Tour ferry, Hong Kong. Well, that sounds, Macau. That would bring out my gambling tendencies. Another thing that I've stepped away from. I loved the occasional night out in a casino, and would quite often host some pals at my house playing poker. When I lived in Glasgow, work colleagues, we used to sit and play poker, love all that kind of stuff. So we've got here JB. I was watching someone who's in Japan at the minute on holiday. Looks great. You ever thought of traveling there? Yep. Just the weather is very different in Japan. I'd need other clothes. So if you go there in the summer for Japan, it'd be fine. But I'm not buying a winter jacket and all that to go to Japan. I would like to go and, do you know, Yvonne and I were considering going to see Oasis in Japan. But then we were just like, this is madness. And Metallica were playing there. I really wanted to go. If there's one gig in one band I'm missing just now, Metallica will be in the UK in like a few days' time, if it's not already now. To June, beginning of June, first couple of days of June, and I really wanted to go. I wanted to go with my mate James that's in here, to take him, go with him. I've been to see Metallica 63 times. It would have been 64 on the day that my dad died. I was supposed to be in Munich with my boss and going to the big Munich, the old Bayern Arena stadium at Munich Park. And that would have been my 64th, and 2 days later, 65th time seeing Metallica. And that was cancelled, and that was actually the day my dad passed away. So I've not been able to get over those numbers. And then I was going to go to London, and then we got this opportunity, and I said, we'll do this. We won't go to London. Loving the channel, fire movement. Yeah, I know a lot about the whole fire movement. I've had that mentioned to me a number of times, and I've read a little bit about it. Just, do you know, like whatever works for you, however you're capable of like making some cash, some income to get by. I mean, I have stocks that I've invested in. I watched them swing up and down. A couple of days ago, my account was like $22,000 down. By the close of the market yesterday, it was like $8,000 down. A couple of stocks that I'm holding that have just been swinging around wildly. But you're just holding on to them, writing options, making money. Maybe my work state is holding me back. Yeah, well, ain't that true? Who else we got? Julie, how are you doing? Hi, John. Hope you're well. Oh, thanks. My throat's just kind of came with the bugs inside it as well. Thanks, Bonnie. It's so humid out here. That Coke's not cutting it. Not Coke, sarsaparilla. A far cry from Club Damage. It is, mate. It really is. I need to get some memes up on screen just to bring those old days back. Baz, hello from Paisley. Hello to you in Paisley, Baz. How you doing? Manalobo bomb on fire. I have no idea how to say that. Manalobo bomba inferno. I've butchered that. But hello, what's up? Saturday evening here, chilling with a sarsaparilla and some water. If I was going to Japan, I'd like to do a gig or something. Something that would really stick with me about going there. It's been on my bucket list about going for quite some time. So we'll see, we'll check out, see what's going on with flights and things and see if we can make that happen. You have to have a tiny fist. I totally agree. I was trying to get Yvonne to do it. There was a young couple, I think they were maybe Chinese, and I was trying to offer them the spare ticket to have a go, and they were just having none of it. Absolutely none of it. Hello, Mark. How you doing, mate? Thanks for joining us. Could you have done this YouTube channel while you were still working your own job? I have another YouTube channel that I've had for years, and I would make videos for it. Not talking, like holiday videos. Let me move the chair. My back's getting sore leaning against it. And I had a Twitch live stream, which I did for years whilst I was still working. But I couldn't have put the time into it the way I put time into this channel. Also, losing my job and my dad passing away were the motivation to start this channel. So if they hadn't happened, this probably wouldn't have came about. I always wanted to really do a talking communication channel, but it needed the right circumstances to happen to motivate me into it, because everybody in here that's got a job, right? You work all day, then you're knackered, then you're making dinner and you're trying to be fit and healthy. There's nobody even there, you two, you're just chasing nothing. You're knackered, you're trying to go to the gym, you've got kids, you know, all of that gets in the way. Then when you take the job out of the mix, right? That's why this has gone from being a YouTube channel, newsletter, Spotify podcast, Patreon account, Because I'm like, oh, I've got an idea, I can build that. I'm working on an app just now. Yvonne's building an app as well. A little idea that we've got. Well, I've got one and she's got one. Yvonne's built her Substack, built that after she went out of her job and told her story. And if you're a member of Yvonne's Substack here, you know, people always ask me, what does Yvonne think to all of this? Well, she's wrote about it now in her own Substack. So, you know, she's been able to tell her side of the story because she's camera shy and all of these kinds of things. But I would say this, Mark, if you're thinking about doing a channel, you know, getting it up and running, having a go at making some content, do it. Give it a go. Just make something, even if it's just for you to look back on years down the line. Make it happen. One job, Vonnie. One. I know, mate. Bloody fly in the water, mate. Sarsaparilla. It's supposed to be a coffee can, like a, you know, one of those Nescafe cold cans. Sarsaparilla. One job. Right, what else have we got going on? Any other questions? Have I missed anything? Jay, it's a slog. Editing tomorrow. The editing, you know, all of that of making videos on YouTube takes its time, right? You've got to work your way through all of that. 58 people have joined. Thank you so much, all 58 that have came on and hung out with me whilst I sit here, listening to the crows and watching the dogs run back and forth. Right, you can let me know. Should I do this more often on a Saturday? I've really enjoyed sitting just chatting away with you all. And I don't want to bore you to tears on a Saturday morning. So at just over an hour, we'll call this quits. And I wish you all the very best for the rest of your Saturday or wherever you are, New Zealand, Australia, the rest of your evening. And you can let me know in the comments down below. Do another one of these on a Saturday, or this was a good one-off. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of your weekend, folks. See you later.